we're just going to go through a calf stretch really quickly and then follow that up with the top of the foot stretch. So you're going to start out, and you can use a half foam roller, you could use a yoga block, you can use a rolled up towel, really anything that's going to elevate the ball of the foot. First thing I want to think about is parallel feet. However, that being said, most of us kind of prefer to stand with a little bit of turnout. So you might actually, when you first start stretching, start with a little bit of turnout in your foot. Now, I don't necessarily want you to practice stretching with turnout, but what I want you to notice or recognize is that when you have a little bit of turnout, the stretch is going to feel a certain way. And then when you start to turn the foot and get it closer and closer to parallel, again, the stretch is going to feel different. The reason we do the calf stretch is not necessarily just to stretch our calves, so much as it is to change the tissues on the back of our leg. So that currently they're probably adapted to walking with a bit of a turnout, and we want to adapt them so that we can, have many different orientations of our feet with ease. So you're going to start out parallel feet, pelvis width apart. You put the ball of your foot on your prop, whether it's a half dome or a block, and then you might check out sort of it, especially if we have a parallel foot, which way is your knee facing? So is the knee turned in or is it facing straight ahead? And so if you can't easily maintain a knee facing straight ahead, you're going to want to accommodate that a little bit with some turnout in your foot. And then we just slowly over time change until we end up with a foot that's parallel and a knee that's facing straight ahead. And then once you get used to that, once the stretch is comfortable, then you might step forward a little bit. We want to start out in our calf stretch with 2 straight legs. And you can vary it a little bit by then adding a knee bend. Then you'll notice when you do bend your knee, the stretch gets lower, down sort of into your Achilles tendon, more down into the heel. So that would be the calf stretch, and obviously you're going to do that on one foot, and you're going to switch and do it on the other. And what you want to notice is when you switch feet, probably one of your calves is going to feel tighter. You might notice that you have more flexion in one ankle than the other. You might notice that you have less or more turnout in one leg. And so you kind of just meet yourself where you are. And, you can start with turnout, then you can go to parallel. We can even add a little bit of pigeon-toed. You can turn in a little bit. Another thing you might notice is when I change the orientation of my foot, what does my hip do to compensate for that? Can I keep my pelvis square or do my hips swing? So that's the calf stretch. Once you've done your calf stretch, you might do a little top of the foot stretch. So top of the foot stretch, you're going to point your toes back and bear a little weight in the top of that foot. The closer your foot is to the other leg, sort of the less pressure, the farther back it goes, more. So you can kind of play around with that. We can rainbow the top of the foot stretch, so again the foot can go straight back. You can drop your ankle in. You can drop your ankle out. You can just play around with different lines of tension. So that's the calf stretch, the top of the foot stretch. Thanks for joining me.